And Far From Home, we got the opportunity to see it. Unfortunately, we didn't give a review afterwards, but let's do it right now. Give me your quick thoughts on Far From Home, and we can jump into spoilers because I feel like a lot of this is kind of based on spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Considering that they kept the Mysterio thing to be like they didn't do that in the advertisements, which I find to be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But what you think, man? What you think overall of this movie?
It was cool.
Ooh, RB3, man, already coming out. Swinging with his hot takes.
It was not a hot take. It was a hot
bats.
take. It's a decent
hot
movie.
Takes, bro. Hot takes.
It's not. I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, I think whatever happened outside of the Spider-Man suit was kind of unbelievably terrible.
Ooh.
And I think what happened in the Spider-Man suit was good stuff. So.
Okay, explain. What do you mean by that? What outside of the Spider-Man suit?
Just like all the vacation stuff, I thought was kind of lame.
Okay.
I think.
Did you like the MJ and Peter Parker?
It was cool. I mean, I genuinely wish that these movies will strive to be a little more than Disney Channel movies. Like, I think back to the original Spider-Man trilogy, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Those movies really do feel like grand stakes, you know, circumstances.
Much more adult.
And you watch Spider-Man 2, you know, Spider-Man, you know, Peter Parker, he's failing out of school. He's getting his his grandma or his aunt's getting her house foreclosed. He can't afford to pay rent. He literally quits being Spider-Man and can't have his powers. Like,
and don't forget Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane's going to get married to somebody else. Like, these are real life like stakes, you know? Like,
yeah.
I feel like for the new movies, I mean, all power to him. I guess you can't make like the definitive Spider-Man movie when the definitive Spider-Man movies have already kind of been made.
Yeah, and it's also
just
like
a day in the life of
you kind of have to go in a different direction, don't you think? Like if I'm Sony, do I want to do this? Do I want to do Raimi again?
If I was Sony, we shouldn't even fucking make these movies anymore.
No, but that's not like be realistic. Like be a studio head. You have to do it. Like if you have the IP and you know it's gonna make money, if someone says you're gonna make a Spider-Man movie, no matter what, how would you make it?
I don't know, man. I mean, see, that's the problem.
It's hard.
Like we've already, things already been done to death.
Has been done to death. Yeah.
The one thing that feels original is the Into the Spider-Verse thing because it feels like a new story that we haven't seen before, and it presented itself in a new medium of animation that was like pretty groundbreaking for what it was doing there too. But otherwise, it's like I don't know. We're already 3 Peter Parkers in deep. Like it's been 15 years. And we already have 3 fucking Spider-Man 2 movies.
That's a good.
We've had 3 different series within the past.
How many Batmans have we had over the past? I feel like it's equal, right? Batmans.
Nah, Batman is less. It can be.
Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, and now Rob Pattinson, but that hasn't come out yet. So
it hasn't come out yet. You don't even know if that.
That's right. It's more Spider-Mans than Batmans.
Yeah, straight up. There's more anything than Spider-Mans. Yeah. And it's like I don't know, man. Sony doesn't. I don't know if Sony's not having any integrity. I mean, we're the culture of film. We're a part of the problem too. I mean, we're talking. I mean, everybody talks about Spider-Man like nonstop. Everybody talks about comic book movies nonstop because it generates clicks. And it's like, but it kind of reciprocates the advertisement for it.
Yeah, but I feel like Spider-Man is reaching a level in not just pop culture, but also in just mythology of like American mythology in the sense of what represents with Spider-Man, especially after Into the Spider-Verse. I really feel like it kind of dawned on me with Into the Spider-Verse that Spider-Man can represent so much for so many people, and he can be literally like a symbol, like a Superman. Yeah. And I don't know, it kind of dawned on me that low-key Spider-Man's the GOAT. But what I mean by GOAT, I mean the greatest superhero of all time. Like he's up there with me with Superman. For me, in Marvel, it's Spider-Man, and in DC, it's Superman. He's reaching that level of ideology and symbolism of what the spider represents. And it represents responsibility, it represents, standing up for yourself, family, all this kind of stuff that comes with the Spider-Man mythology. I feel like that's kind of timeless, RB3. I don't know, maybe that's me being very optimistic, but I feel like if you can get away with that, then that's okay because it's Spider-Man. Because he's Stan Lee's legacy no matter what. 100 years from now, Spider-Man's going to live on, whereas other superheroes might not. But I really do feel like Spider-Man is the one superhero that will live on for Marvel more than any other character in Marvel. Yeah. Like even if you have someone like a Tony Stark who stands out more in the MCU movies, I still feel like Spider-Man's the GOAT. Like, he's the greatest superhero character.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's always been my favorite character.
There you go, me too.
And
I grew up with the animated series, so
the
I
animated
fell in
series,
love, and it immediately got me into the comics.
The first comic book I ever bought was the one with Spider-Man and Obama, the crossover there. I also, there's always that video of me online of me dancing in the Spider-Man costume.
Oh, that's
as well.
right, yeah.
So obviously Spider-Man is cool.
That's why I feel like that, in the sense of like trying to redo the Spider-Man and doing it right, is okay. Now, when it comes to the Venom side, I got some real thoughts on that, because I thought that was the worst movie of the year.
Yeah, but you weren't bored. But you weren't bored out of your mind in Spider-Man: Far From Home.
No, not at all. Here's my thoughts. I really did feel the first half of this movie, and maybe it was a little bit disoriented because we did walk in a little bit late.
Yeah, I saw it again.
Oh, see,
I fell asleep on it the second time. So.
God, come on. But maybe that's what it was. But for me, I really did feel like the first half of this movie, I was like, what is this? Like when they were in Venice. And they were like flying around against a water creature. And I was like, this is kind of whatever. Like, Spider-Man's not doing anything. Like, when he was holding up that building, I'm like, who are you holding it up for? Yeah. There's literally no one around. It didn't hit me. I really did feel like halfway through that movie, I was like, oh, this is kind of okay. Kind of not good, to be honest. It didn't click until, guess what? The Mysterio reveal. As soon as he pulled that Jake Gyllenhaal crazy performance and started being evil, I was like, hell yeah, this is way better. Now I have an actual interesting character arc, and a theme in the movie that I feel like that theme is such a good theme that kind of spreads throughout the movie, and it's about false narratives. It's about, creating illusions to confuse you and to lie to you, and basically fake news, for lack of a better word, right? It's about, like Mysterio's whole thing, and he said it so many times in this movie, is that I can make you believe what I want you to believe. I can create a story, have writers to write it, create the science behind it, and then bullshit, and look what I made. And that's such a important issue in the world, and especially the country today, that I feel like that's a powerful theme to show to young people. Because guess what, RB3, you said it yourself, it caters more towards young people. I think that's a good message for young people to see. I think young people could be like, hey, not everyone's trustworthy, and maybe this guy who's selling me whatever he's selling me isn't true. So I think that's a very powerful message, and I really felt like that resonated throughout the movie and through Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Mysterio, especially as he kept yelling, like I don't care, like I can make you believe what you want to believe, what you don't want to believe, I guess. And it's all about false narratives. I was like, that's cool. That's really cool, and that's something that can live on through Far From Home. That, and then the crazy action sequences, CGI fest, that I was like, this is awesome. That I even turned to you and I was like, yo, that shit was wild. Yeah. That was dope.
I think everybody after the Mysterio scene, where you first reveal Mysterio and you have like the great like dream sequence mind trip thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's really where the movie picked up for me.
It picked up so much to the point that I was like, it put it over the edge for a couple other movies for me. And cool. I just dug the shit out of it. That, and I loved Mysterio. I love that these two Spider-Man movies, say what you will of them, have two, I tweeted this out, have two of the best villains in the MCU. I loved the Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture. I thought it was such a grounded character. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I love this idea of someone who's using deception to take over Spider-Man and take over people's minds and ideologies, not through mind control, but through simple stories and narratives and illusions. I was like, man, that's cool. That's a really cool idea. So the two standouts of these movies are the two villains of the movie. I thought that was really
You don't feel like Jake Gyllenhaal kind of phoned it in, though, in this one?
Not at all. You think so?
Yeah, I think 100%.
Really?
It didn't even feel like... I feel like there were moments that he tried to break out of the kind of monotone thing that he was going for. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, the theme is deception. So for most of it, he's playing like a nice, charming guy. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we've seen Jake Gyllenhaal reach a lot of extremes acting wise. And it's like he didn't even come close to anything I would have seen in like anything else.
Don't you think that would have been jarring as hell?
I think it would have
If
at
he
least
went
added
full
something.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I think
I
it
think
would have.
that
I think
would
it
have
would have
been
added
like
something sinister to it. I think it would, especially. I think
I love that he. I don't know, man. I feel
think
like
the character is. I think the character himself. I think the way the character was written. I think he would have allowed a lot more room for craziness. Like, you know, on the flip side, because you watch a movie like American Psycho, or you watch any of the charming bad guy movies. Like, you know, if it was Christian Bale, he would have had the suave thing like locked down. But then, like when he gave that whole monologue in front of the coworkers thing, I think that would have been a lot more extreme and visceral. And I don't know.
I feel like that.
I don't know.
I almost feel like that's. I'm going to counter you by saying I think it's good acting that he didn't go there. I think it would have been a little too jarring if he started raising the toast in that bar scene and he was going, "This is for you, Lucy. This is for you, Jimmy."
Well, not like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was in Nightcrawler. He was a psycho.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think it would have been a little jarring if he went full American Psycho.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I think the character. I think in principle is a cool character. I just feel like Jake Gyllenhaal just was like sleepwalking through most of it.
No,
so, I don't know.
I disagree completely. I thought it was a very believable.
The only part that I thought he kind of did something or woke up was when he was yelling at the one guy and he had the two drones like pointing at his head. I was like, all right, finally, like he's awake in this movie.
Yeah, that was great.
It felt like the rest of it, he was just in the CGI costume and
I don't know, man. I disagree. I really did feel like he brought his usual Jake Gyllenhaal stamp of jumping between two different characters because it's two different characters of Quentin Beck. And I just love the idea of him using people around him to manipulate them just as much as he's manipulating Peter and using their talents and their abilities to kind of use this disgruntled employee kind of metaphor to further his ambitions and his ideologies. I thought that was great too. I don't know. I just loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and I really bought into his character. And the fact that he had contingency plans at the end, I was like, yeah, he would have contingency plans. He's a very hateful guy, so he would totally be like, you know what, if I die, I'm going to make sure everyone dies, so especially Peter Parker. I thought that was pretty funny at the end. I don't know. What you think of that mid-credit scene?
That was a good scene.
Yeah.
I had it spoiled for me, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah? I did not.
But yeah, it was a cool scene.
J. Jonah Jameson, man.
It was good seeing J.K. Simmons back.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson playing Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Literally the same font and everything.
Yeah,
dude.
I think that's funny. I think they established that J. Jonah Jameson has a podcast and the Spider-Man
you told me the guy from the Spider-Man game.
Yeah. So he kind of in the game, like as you're just swinging through the city, you'll just hear the J. Jonah Jameson like podcast or whatever come on. It'll just be ranting about bullshit, you know. And they
See,
do
that's
that
even more. That's great, man. I know they got it from the video game, so credit to the writers of the video game.
Yeah.
But the fact that they put it in the movie that's great.
Yeah,
man.
no, it's a good
cool.
concept. Yeah,
that's so realistic.
Yeah. It definitely sours a little bit knowing that like your favorite character from like the original Spider-Man trilogy is like now he's a full-on Alex Jones retard.
Low key, that's true.
I'm like, oh no,
he was great in the Raimi movies, and
yeah.
But it makes it more realistic to this time because if you look back at those Raimi movies, they do have a little bit of a 1960s kind of, hey, Peter Parker, get over here.
Yeah.
Like it's very
yellow journalism.
Exactly. It's very like you can tell they're paying Sam Raimi's paying tribute to that.
Yeah.
So this is much more updated version of what a J. Jonah Jameson would look like in New York City.
Yeah.
So I really dug that, and I really feel like the themes of the movie really stood out to me quite a bit. I like Peter Parker and MJ. I thought that was a really sweet, once again, I keep using that word, but a very realistic relationship for high schoolers.
See, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think so.
I think awkward, yes, but it's too much. It's too snappy. Bro. It's too snappy.
So which one's snappy?
That's also the thing that I feel like. The same way I feel about Jake Gyllenhaal, like not being able to extend his acting talent. I also feel the same way for Zendaya in these movies almost.
Sure.
Because I've been watching Euphoria. These 4 episodes of Euphoria completely changed my perspective on Zendaya.
As far as her acting ability?
Yeah, I mean, she could really, really act, you know? Like, she could really, really, really act. And I just feel like in this is like, I got to go back to watching her do this watered down Disney Channel shit again. You know, like,
man,
but it's just like
that's cold.
No offense, but I mean, she was good. The chemistry stuff is good. I just wish that, again, like, I wish there was a little more range to explore here. And you look at the original, again, I hate comparing the original trilogy to this, but like the MJ and Peter dynamic, I mean, it was a full-on romantic drama, like, in that series, you know? Like, it was like they were at peak, you know, relationship, then they fell all the way down to the bottom. She was going to get married to a completely another dude.
But these kids are 16.
Like, I know.
16.
But then the most conflict you get out of that is Peter Parker literally trying to kill another 16-year-old, who, by the way, popped out of nowhere because of the blip. So I don't know. It's like, it was cool. And I sound like I'm hating, but I'm not really hating. Like, for the most part, like, I did enjoy. Like I said, all the CGI, like all this stuff in the Spider-Man suit, all of that, all the Spider-Man related stuff, even when he's not in the suit, even when he is in Venice and he's just holding a tower, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like when he goes to the Netherlands jail.
Oh yeah, that was funny too. Yeah, that was funny too.
Yeah.
But then I just feel like all the stuff with the high school stuff was just like kind of ridiculous.
Sure.
I felt, especially, I kind of really just kind of checked out when the drone almost killed Brad and then he had to jump out of the bus. Like, that is something you would really, really see out of a Disney Channel movie.
That's very true. That felt a little bit of a stretch for me. Like, Peter would not be that dumb.
Yeah.
It was pretty dumb.
Yeah. But, I mean, the scene itself was funny, but it's like, come on, man, this is a Spider-Man movie.
And I know everyone has probably done this in articles and reviews, but can I be the one to question Tony Stark? You're really going to give weapons of mass destruction to a 16-year-old as a parting gift after you die?
I
was I the only one who was like, well,
I mean,
drones, an army?
No, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, I get the logic in that it was like the father figure of Spider-Man, so it's kind of like he's the Uncle Ben stand-in for this series. Of course. So I guess they have to, you know, in the same way that the original Raimi trilogy always referred to Uncle Ben even after the first movie. Yeah, this series is always going to refer to Tony Stark as that figure.
And I like that Quentin Beck's character was trying to kind of fill that void for a temporary status for Peter, and Peter is so easily manipulated to when it comes to like a strong father figure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really dug the movie, man. I thought the themes of the movie was what really stood out to me the most. Again,
I'm glad you found some themes in this, man, because I was really worried.
Are you kidding me?
This podcast.
It's everywhere.
Not have anything to talk about.
It's all over the place. I've been talking about it for years, and I know obviously it's all over the news now, but how people are so easily manipulated and so easily that's not true because I didn't hear it on my channel. And it's like, why? And it's so easily to dismiss certain things. Or, did you hear what certain person did? And, well, that's not true. It's like, what? It is true. Like, why are you so easily manipulated? And it's all about false narratives. And I keep using that word narrative, but that's what it is. It's a narrative. It's a story that these people write to make a compelling argument for your side, whether that be your faith, your religion, your beliefs, whatever it is. It's all bullshit, and people buy it, and they just chew it up, and it bothers me so much, and it's been going on for forever, obviously. But it's really making a mark on this world even now more than ever. So I just love that that's the major thing. I love when Mysterio says, you know, I will make them believe what they don't want to believe. I will make them believe what I want. I will write this story. And I was like, yo, that's deep. And the fact that he can sell lies as truth. I was like, that's beautiful. I don't know. That's really good. That's a really good theme that's throughout the entire story. And the fact that, like, you know, there's themes, there's jokes in it too, like Night Monkey, like that's not even real, but the fact that they keep buying into that. Right. There's things throughout the entire movie that shows that kind of thing, that people are easily manipulated into buying whatever they want to buy. And the fact that he has a tragic backstory too, so it could be more compelling. All that bullshit that they're selling it's so true. Like that happens, man. Yeah. And I told you after the movie when he just, every time he fights, after I caught on, but every time he fought the creatures, he would yell out, "Family! This is for my family!" Like, I was like, yeah, that's, it's like a stereotype he's playing of a superhero. Yeah. I don't know. I love that, man. I think that stuff really stood out for me. And it's much more tongue-in-cheek, comedic, winking at the camera, Disney Channel original movie, whatever you want to call it, all those words that kind of go together as far as, like, I don't want to say cheesy, but like corny, over the top, for kids, all those stuff, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. I really felt like if that's the audience, it was good. It works for the audience, and it works for me based on what Mysterio did and what Peter Parker had to learn throughout the movie. So those are my thoughts, man.